Hey everybody, welcome to Recovery Lab TV. I am Chris, I'm your coach and therapist, and today we are continuing our series of foam rolling, starting with the lower body and tools you can use to help you along the way. Okay, so today I've got my foam roller as explained in the last two videos. Okay, what I also have is a stick roller, also created by Foam Rumble Roller, and their little beastie ball. Okay, now this is just a brand that I use. Okay, there's millions of brands out there, so don't necessarily assume that like exclusively I use this brand. Okay, I've just found that it works for me, and by all means let me know in the comment section which brands you use and how you find them and how effective they are for you. Okay, so I'd be really interested to know what kind of tools you're using and how that is affecting your kind of soft tissue health, if you will. Today is going to be a little video about how to master the lower body, if you will, in regards to kind of foam rolling and recovery. Okay, so I'm going to be using all three tools, if you will, to help reduce kind of soreness and kind of DOMS in the lower leg, to help recover and help the tissue heal after kind of intensive exercise, and just kind of overall kind of increase your flexibility and range of movement through the use of myofascial release, which is a fancy way to say in foam rolling. Okay, so to begin with, because we're starting on our lower body, I'm just going to slide this underneath my hips. Okay, I'm going to cross over just like so. Slide my shorts up. Okay, I'm going to lean over onto that side. The reason being is because as I cross my leg over into a kind of a figure four shape, if you will, okay, what I've done is kind of opened up my glute complex, so all my kind of bum muscles, and then as I then roll from the top of my shorts, okay, top of the hip, all the way down to that bony part in the bum, okay, that middle section is going to be exactly where you feel the tension. And as you kind of lean over a little bit more, okay, try to get the side of your hip, it's going to be a brilliant way of kind of really introducing that kind of soreness and that stiffness, and kind of really kind of helping break down the tissue and the tension. So what I tend to do is spend anything from 30 seconds to a minute and a half, okay, so 90 seconds on each side, and then just like so I would then cross over and swap sides. Okay, now what I'm going to do is as I swap sides, I'm going to show you an alternative way of doing it. Okay, so we've had it this way, now I'm going to rotate it this way to show you just a different way of operating, if you will. So it starts right on the bony part of my bum, like I said, okay, and then I'm going to rotate this way as I kind of hit that glute complex, and then the side of my hip, where if you typically stand on one side and push your hips out, trying to get all sassy, this is kind of generally where you're going to feel a lot of your tension. Okay, so just like so. Now if you want to have a bit of a core stability exercise and kind of add a bit of balance work into it, you can bring one leg onto your shins just like so. If not saying you're relatively clumsy, but if you fall over a lot, okay, or you're unstable, you may want to place two hands down behind you as you roll, just like so. Okay, now that being said, that being done, okay, from there this is a good starting block for breaking down the glutes. Okay, what you then do is use some kind of ball. Okay, this comes with a lovely detachable base, which I'll explain after. And then all you're going to do is slide that ball underneath your bum. You're going to place your hands behind you, bring your opposite leg as close to your pelvis as you can, extending this leg out this time, okay, and you're using your heel to pivot on as you roll your hips back and forth. And like I said, you're aiming for the meaty part, okay, so you've got your the bony part in your bum, okay, you've got the top part of your hip, and you're aiming for that kind of little middle section. And where your glutes come across, they kind of open up like a Chinese fan, like my fingers do, and you're trying to get across this section here of the muscle. So as you're placing it there, you can either hold it and kind of work on a compression, if you will. That's where these are really good, because then that way you know that it isn't going to move whatsoever. Okay, If you're on a decent floor, like a wood flooring, okay, you know it's not going to move just because your weight is compressing it, okay. And then as you add a bit of movement into it, you're effectively pivoting on that heel, like I said, rolling back and forth. And what you're going to find is, depending on where your tension is, you may kind of want to pause for a second, allow it to get a little bit deeper into the muscle belly, and what that's going to do is initiate a relaxing response, okay. Once you do one side, you would naturally then transfer it over to the other, okay. What you may find is that you're going to have some tension in one side more than the other, depending on, like I said, whether you draw down and effectively you're tipping one way or the other, okay. So it's really important. For me, for example, I tend to shift my weight to the right side, so I get a lot more tension on the right side. So in regards to the relationship of time and how much should you spend on each leg or each side of the muscle, yes, there's a kind of a go-to method where I said 30 to 90 seconds, but then also use a common sense approach that if there's more tension on one side and it's causing you more of a problem, spend a little bit more time on that one side. And now, that's not necessarily to say that you kind of want to neglect the other, okay, but you may want to spend a little bit more time just to kind of get in there and get a little bit deeper, okay. So once you've done the glutes, that will bring you onto the hamstrings, okay, and now from there you're kind of gonna place one leg down, you're gonna slide these out of the way for a second, and you are going to roll from just above the knee, okay, never go over the back of the knee just because you don't want to cause any damage to the knee itself, and effectively you're rolling it nice and straight with your knee and toes pointed, okay. What I tend to do is I will roll it for say 10 rolls, for example, okay, and then I'll roll it with my toes facing outwards, if you will, to a lateral aspect, okay, and then I'm going to bring my foot towards the inside of my thigh, and what that helps me do is kind of get all aspects of that underbelly of my hamstring, okay. And I'll pretty much do this again for half a minute to 2 minutes as I come through. Now naturally, if I wanted to, I could do both legs at the same time. Naturally it's going to make me do more of an upper body workout, and again, depending on the size of your roller, some of the rollers, this is quite a compact roller, you can get longer ones and it might be a little bit easier depending on thigh thickness, so that's just something to take into account as well, okay. So just rolling back, rolling forward like so, maybe tilting the leg one way, tilting the leg the other, okay. Now if you wanted to go a little deeper, what you could do then is transfer over and either rest there and allow the roller to do the compression work that the ball would normally do, okay, if you don't have a ball, and then just hold that anything up to 90 seconds just to allow it to release. And then what I would recommend is you just kind of do a nice short roll afterwards just to help flush the area out of where you've been using it. Otherwise it's just going a little bit deeper and just allowing you to kind of roll with a little bit more depth, okay. So actually, as I was saying, if you do one side, you automatically do the other, and then you go under the same principle for the backs of your calves, okay, the lower leg. Now again, you would slide it one side, supporting, takes a little bit of weight off the foam roller itself, takes a little bit of the weight off the leg itself and your arms as you're moving your body weight over and sliding off the floor, okay. Now you could, if you wanted to, double up, and then what that does, it kind of allows you to get into it as much as you can, and then again, last but even not leastly, is going across the top and going there as you roll. Now the other option, if you have a stick roller, now this comes with a lovely base, okay, so the base comes there, I can literally just use it like a foam roller. I can use it nice and quick in regards to my Achilles, because you don't tend to get much blood flow in the tendons themselves, so you kind of want to do it quick to help with blood flow. And then as I do so, I literally would then just go a little bit deeper, and what that does there is on this stick roller, because it has the two balls, for example, I can put my foot in the middle, my leg in the middle, and it's going to work up either side. I could put my leg bang on the center of one of the balls, and as I roll, and effectively I could rotate that way, and it's going to do the best. With this stick roller as well, it also is detachable with the kind of bases, if you will, and effectively I can then roll it myself with my hands as I kind of move the stick roller around, allowing me again nice and quick towards the tendons, just to help with the blood flow and the release of any tension. And then as I kind of go up towards the thickness of my calf, okay, I would then potentially slow down. Now for me, I tend to hold a lot of my tension on the inside of my thighs. Now you may be the same, okay, and you may also hold it on the outside, which are the two kind of common aspects. Not very many people hold it dead middle, and that's typically because most people don't have a dead straight leg stride. We tend to either tuck our toes outwards or we tuck our feet inwards, depending on how we're walking, okay? Now, similar to the calf, you can also do the same with a stick roller for your hamstrings, and all effectively you're doing is just nice and gently rolling it back and forth, just like so, allowing it to get into the hamstring muscle as you're kind of stick rolling. And effectively, if you pull harder into it, you're going to apply a little bit more pressure. If you just gently hold it with kind of a couple fingers, it's allowing you to then be a little bit more active and mobile with it. These are brilliant for kind of traveling, allowing yourself to kind of go a little deeper as and when you need to use it, and if you don't have a bit of floor space. The thing I struggle with these, you can use them for your back, it's just a little harder because there's a lot of surface area to cover, okay? Now, the balls are really good, especially this one because it has a base. So if you have, like I said, tension on the inside of my thigh, inside of my calf, I can then just place it on that area by moving my body and just gently placing it on that tense spot. And then just simply by watching TV or watching this kind of a channel like this, okay, you can simply just allow your muscle to relax as your mind is preoccupied, okay? Initially it's going to hurt, it's going to be unpleasant, and you're not necessarily going to want to do it because of how painful it may be. But the more you relax your mind and the more you allow yourself to relax your body, the muscle will then kind of relax into it, allowing you to benefit far greater as you hold it into that tense spot. Typically I'd say hold it for anything from 90 seconds to about 2 minutes, I would say, okay? What I like with this type of contraction and the ball is it's great for the arches of your feet, okay? For example, if I just gently place this back on there, I could be sat on a chair or a sofa. This could be underneath your desk, for example. And if you struggle with plantar fasciitis, you struggle with just kind of general soreness or aches and pains in your feet because of the shoes you have to wear for your work, typically you can get a lot out of it through massaging the balls of your feet, and this can be done through either an object like this because it's static and it stays there, or effectively you can just use a ball like this, and it doesn't have to be as bumpy. You can use a smooth ball. I started with a tennis ball because it has a bit of a give because it's squishy. Golf balls are really good because of the hardness into them, okay, and it just allows you to get a lot of tension because you think we're on our feet every day, all day, and those arches are kind of taking a lot of strain and a lot of weight since it's holding our whole body up, okay. From there, what I would typically do is the fronts of my shins, okay. Now I tend to use a stick roller like this, and I turn my shin sideways and I get it there, okay. But if you don't have a stick roller, okay, a brilliant way is using your foam roller, okay. So what I would do is I would go on this side and I'd just be gently straightening the leg as I'm using that foam roller to get into the fronts of my shins, especially if I do a lot of running, cycling, kind of walking, hill walking, you name it. If I've got stiff ankles, everyone focuses on the backside of your kind of lower limb. What a lot of us neglect is the front side, and it can be a lot of result of a lot of tension and kind of underlying issues if we do have a lot of problems there. Okay, from there, what I would do is then work on the inner thigh. So you're placing your roller just like so. You're trying to centralize your body so your back's nice and straight, and effectively you're just gently rolling towards your groin as you're stretching out nice and tall, just like so, trying to get the best out of your inner thigh as you come up. Now what I tend to find with most people is they're either really sore towards their VMO, so the teardrop muscle right here, or right in the inside of the groin, just because of a lot of hip tightness, a lot of neglect, and generally we don't tend to do this as often as we should. Okay, so if you can, try and get right from the head of the muscle, okay, right up to the groin as much as you possibly can as you kind of come in nice and deep. And again, you want to slow it down. Now if you want to get to that point where it's really sore and you want to hold it and rest for a bit and just let the body weight of your leg just sink into that position. Okay, once you've done one side, you would naturally then roll the inside, okay, and then that would move you on to the outside of the thigh, which tends to be one of the ones that people avoid the most because it is painful. We tend to use our IT band for a lot of things, especially running, cycling, walking, sitting down and so on. And then what I tend to do is bring my leg over the top. It takes a lot of weight off the roller. I put my both hands down, and then all I'm doing is just slowly rolling it down to my hip, and again just above the knee, if you can see that, as I come down. Right now it's super sore, however as you're doing it, the more you do it and the more you try and relax and focus on your breathing, it's going to take a lot of the tension away and allow you to kind of really take a lot of the pain away in those areas and so on and so forth, which will then eventually allow you to double up with the leg and just roll like so as you do it. Okay, naturally once you've done one side, again you do the other before going around onto your front. And then what you're going to do now is just gently roll your quads. So as you come there, you'd stretch all the way to the top of your groin and you'd roll to the heads of your knee. Okay, so just above your kneecap. So as you're rolling back and forth, you're trying to relax, you're trying to breathe, just using your body weight to gently guide. Okay, and then what I tend to do is I bring my heels to my bum, and what that does is by doing so it stretches out the quad and allows me to go a little bit deeper into the quad muscle itself before bringing it to a nice end, just like so. So those are my kind of go-to foam rolling exercises. Okay, this is how I use my equipment, and that's not to say it's the only way. Okay, it's just a nice, easy and friendly way of kind of hitting all those major muscle groups within your lower limbs to kind of really help you stay on top of your game. If you're feeling sore, kind of stressed, tense from either work, your hobbies and activities, your sporting on fitness kind of routines, then they're kind of great go-to, relatively cheap if you will, as soon as you buy them and you have them forever, kind of ways of looking after your body, helping you recover, helping you kind of stay at the top of your game. Okay, so if you use other pieces of equipment, let me know what stuff you use in the comment section, and I'll get back to you. Maybe I've used it, maybe I've not heard of it, and I'll give it a go. So let me know what you're using. It's always great to hear from you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. We've got more to come along this series, including upper body and sports specific stuff. Okay, so let us know how you're doing. If you're struggling with anything, let us know in the comment section and we'll do a specific video just for you. Otherwise, have an amazing day. This is Recovery Lab TV. I am Chris, your coach and therapist. Don't forget to click like, share and subscribe. It's always great to have you there, and I'll see you soon. Take care.